Hi guys, my name is Dimitri MARAMENIDES, and thank you very much for visiting the product page under the Oxygen V2 on the Epic kite. This is right here on my left is the Oxygen V2 that we have. We had an amazing 2011 year. People really love the Oxygen V1, and you know, if someone loves something, why change it? So for the new Oxygen V2, we decided not to change much on the shape, but we did change on the graphic. As you can see here, we have a totally different graphic than the Oxygen V1. It is 135 in length by 47 centimeters in width. Yes, it is a wide board, but it is very, very, very alive, you know. So if you're looking at to kite in light wind from let's say 7 knots to 12 knots, then the Oxygen, this board right here, it is a perfect board for you. It is very light, as you can see, very, very light. It's made out of a wood core like the Oxygen V1. So the only difference we did for the Oxygen V2 was the graphic, as you just saw. Plus also what we did is we added an extra insert. The Oxygen V1 had 2 inserts for their stands, but now for the V2 we added an extra one right here. So now we have 3 stands instead of 2. So if you are a wider, if you a big kiter, tall, and you like wider stands, then it's perfect. You can set it up to the next stand since we have 3. So you know, if you like wide stands, then you have another chance to add your stands wider. Again, this is the Oxygen, very good for light wind. So the perfect light wind condition for this Oxygen will be from, let's say, 7 to 11, 12 knots. And if you're using the Infinity, which is a perfect combo, of course you can use this board in 20 knots if you want. You know, it still works good, but it's not the perfect board for those kind of conditions. You have the Droid or the Spartan for those conditions. Since the Epic Kite's twin tip comes in 3 different boards, you have the Oxygen for light wind, the Droid for, you know, in the middle range, and the Spartan for higher winds. So if you're looking for stronger winds, then go to the next product under the Spartan or the Droid product page, and you learn more about these boards. But for light wind page, for light wind conditions, then you're on the perfect page right now, perfect product. This is the Oxygen that you want to be paying attention. You'll see it in action and you see how it performs. But this board is very good from, I'll say, from 7 knots all the way to 12, and again, you know, you can use it in stronger winds. But you know, me personally, you know, I like it in light wind, but I know a lot of customers tried it from like 8 to 18 knots and they really like it. I can't believe how it holds it and stuff. But anyway, you know, if the wind picks up, you want to get a smaller board. Again, what makes this board amazing in light wind, it's not only his shape, but also his light. It's so light, it's a very light board, okay? And also the core of this board is made out of wood, so it's very flexible and very light. Plus like I said, the bottom is really flat, so it makes this board plane really, really fast. And also what makes also this board very special is, as you can see here, the ends. It is a 45 centimeter wide board, which is very wide for light wind. That's why you want the widest. You know, not the length. The length doesn't make too much difference. 135, 145, it's not really, you know, 135 is perfect. But at least you have to have 47 centimeters width for light wind. Anyway, what makes this board very special, it's not only the bottom that makes it really playing fast because it's flat, but also the tips. As you can see, the tips at the end, I made them really short, you know, like cut short inside. So when you take it, you're like, oh my gosh, you know, this feels like a really wide board. But then when you put it in the water, it rides like a small board, like a 41 centimeter board. So these tips here, by having here, it will pop like if you have a 41 centimeter board, a small board, it will pop like that. So it really, these tips here ends makes the board really grab the end, so you can pop really well. You know, it just like, you just feel that pop. Same thing like when you're jumping, you want to land, as soon as they hit the water, you get edge immediately because it will dig inside the water. Those edge dig. So what makes this Oxygen V2 special, which is also the same thing with the Oxygen V1, is the shape and the tips too. It's amazing in light wind, but also it performs like a small board. So when you're on it, it's just like, oh my gosh, this board performs like my small board, but you're playing and having fun in 10 knots. Okay, so These are very special, and that makes what makes the board very special in light wind, the way it pops, and the landing also. So you can really put pressure on the back foot, and it won't spin out, you know. So when you land, it just grabs and it won't go pa 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 pa, you know, skip around. Also, what made this board special is the fins. As you can see here, we have small fins, 4 centimeters fins. The board, the oxygen comes with 2 sets of fins, 5 centimeters and 4 centimeters. So if you're teaching or you're a beginner, use the 5 centimeter fins. It'll make it easier. But then if you get better, use the 4 centimeters smaller. It makes the board totally different. It makes the board more alive, you know, more like it just wants to move, you know, on your feet. So schools really love to use these oxygen because they can teach with the 5 centimeters, and then if you want to go out, they can just change the fins and put smaller fins, and then it acts like a small board. But anyway, if you're looking for a light wind board, the oxygen is your perfect weapon for light wind. Also, look at the rails. You see the edges, how narrow and thin they are. See, they're very, very thin all around. So by having this really thin, you see how thin they are? You don't really need a fin, you know. Those edges, it's not too sharp, so it won't hurt you, but it's thin enough so it really digs in the water when you want to load and pop. Plus, having those fins, it makes the board incredible. So anyway, again, this is the Oxygen V2 board, 135 by 47 centimeters wide, amazing board for light wind. So the combination of this board plus the Infinity V2 kite will make a perfect combo. Again, it's blowing like maybe, it's very light now, so by the time I pump and rig my Infinity and get ready, hopefully it'll be blowing like maybe 7 to 11 knots, 10 knots. Right now it's blowing 2 knots, so let me pump the kite and I'll meet you right here, right back. So let me make it fast. Okay guys, I got the oxygen ready, I got the Infinity V2 ready, everything is all set. It's blowing like, it's blowing more than before, probably 8 to 11 knots right now. Before it was blowing like 2, 4 when I was explaining about the Oxygen V2. Again, this is the Oxygen V2. As you can see, it is very alive. I mean, you can just spin it. You know, that board it's a big board for light winds, but it feels very small. So again, you know, it's 135 in length. It's very flat bottom and 47 centimeters in width. But it feels like, you know, 41 centimeters, especially when you're trying to load and pop. As you can see here, that makes a big difference, and that's what this board is amazing in light wind, because it feels like a small board, but it plays like a big board. So if you are in the market for a light wind board, then make sure to get the Oxygen. This board will blow your mind. Again, if you're looking for other boards like, you know, for stronger winds, for, you know, medium winds, then you need to check the other boards, the Spartan or the Joy. Those will be perfect. But anyway, check all the other products we have. We have, you know, the Renegade, the Screamer, the Judge, the Race Kite. So anyway, I hope to see you soon in the water.